Hey guys, Mr. Decker here. This is Unit 2, Lesson 18, Planning a Multi-Page Website. Now, we have made our way through 17 lessons in this unit so far. We're ready to begin thinking about not only making a web page, but making a website. The difference being that a website has multiple web pages contained within it, and you can link those web pages together to make a cohesive website. Now, most websites have multiple web pages that you can navigate around to. You've already seen some examples of this in prior lessons where you have been able to click on different links with websites that were created with the web lab on code.org. So let's get into it. Our standards for this lesson are decomposing and breaking down problems into smaller manageable subproblems to facilitate the program development process, observe intellectual property rights and give appropriate attribution when creating or remixing programs, and documenting programs in order to make them easier to follow, test, and debug. That last one is a big one because this is a planning step. Our central question pertains exactly to that. Why is it important to plan ahead for a programming project? Well, when you plan ahead, when you've got your image files ready, when you know what you want your website to look like, what style you want to give it, what the overall content is going to look like, that gives you a big step towards being successful. So if you have a good plan put together, all of your files and resources put together already, it makes the process of putting it all together and doing the programming a lot easier and a lot more straightforward because you're not having to do that guesswork as you complete your programming. All right, the directions for this assignment. Using the provided Google Doc, you're going to type your answers in the boxes on the activity guide. Your job is to complete the multi-page website project guide and make sure you have a good plan to create your website. We are going to be learning how to link multiple web pages into one cohesive website in the next lesson, so it's important to have a plan before taking on the next challenge. All right, so I already have my project guide open, but you'll open yours from the bottom down here through your student portal. I'm in my teacher portal, so it looks a little different. If you forget how to do it, you've got this video teaching you how. Let's jump over to the project guide. So on the project guide, it says overview. You've already defined the purpose of your site. Now you'll have a chance to prepare to develop it. This project will show that you can develop and use a plan, link between multiple pages on websites, use classes to style elements on a page, and write readable code and use good file names. Step 1 here, in this section, you're designing your site. You'll describe each page on your website in the table below. So when we get to the next lesson and we're linking pages together, you'll learn more about this, but all of the pages on your website are going to be HTML pages. So my index.html page is the main page or the landing page of my website. You've already been working on landing pages and main pages, so you don't have to think too hard about that. So on my index.html page, I just want to give it a description, right? Let's say my website is about the Smart Lab. So I will say here, this is the main page of my website, also known as the landing page. This page will be the first page anyone sees when they go to my website. It will contain information about the computer science curriculum, along with lists of activities and assignments we do in the Smart Lab. So this is just a description of what that page is going to be. My next page might be about my robotics team, right? So I would say robotics.html, and you can name these what you want. When you create a new page or a new HTML page, right, you say add HTML, and you'll see new HTML here. I can click here, rename, And then I could name it robotics. Enter. Right now I have a robotics HTML that's blank and ready for me to put some programming, put some HTML in and make some stuff happen. So back over here, right? And then I would just describe what is going to be on this page. You don't have to be super detailed about it, but you do need to have a general idea. Now let's move on. Step 2, and you don't have to have let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. As many as you're going to have. I'd like for you to have at least 3 or 4. So try to have this filled out down to this row right here. If you want to have 6 web pages on your website, then by all means, go for it. Shoot for the moon. Now down here, step 2, describe your tag and style, or sorry, if I can read correctly today. Step 2, describe your tag and class styles. First, decide the tags that you will use on your page and how each tag will be styled. So our tags, right? That H1 is your main header. Your H2 would be like a secondary header. And just type those out as they look in the HTML code. Your paragraphs, you're going to have those. You'll probably have an ordered or unordered list, and an ordered list that shows up with numbers has an OL. An unordered list with bullet points has a UL. And just a reminder that in between those, right, you have your list tags that look like this. So this is just a refresher. And then, you probably will have some other things, H3 tags, more paragraph tags, so on and so forth. But that was weird. So basically, you want to make sure that you give these a style description, because on your style sheet, your CSS page, right? And back over here, your style CSS page, this is where you're giving your code or your HTML, telling it what it's going to look like, right? So my background color is this misty rose color. Of the text is going to be that dark violet. And then my paragraphs are going to have this serif font, a margin of 10 pixels, a font size of 14 pixels. The H1 tag has a font weight that makes it a little bit lighter looking, so on and so forth. So just be thinking about what you want your styles to be, and you'll list those out here. So the style description for an H1 tag would be something like text will be px, right? Underlined, black, so on and so forth, right? You're just describing what it's going to look like. Not what it is necessarily or what it will say, but what it will look like. I'm just getting this ready for you to do. So the next thing is you'll decide the classes that you will use on your web page and how each class will be styled. This was the last lesson that we did. And let me pull up the HTML page here so you can see what those classes look like again as a review. So if I give my H3 here a class for its style, then it has to exist within this beginning part. So H3 class equals, and in quotation marks, the class name. And then you establish that class name with a dot name over here. And then you give that rule set its rules, and then you have the results over here. This is just a review of the last lesson. You should have watched that video, and you should have completed that assignment already on code.org. So you should be pretty well versed on how the classes work. Right, and in this event, I've created just a random class, .soccer class equals soccer. So you'll put that here, so you know what you're naming it on your style sheet and how to type that out on your HTML. And then the style description is just saying, like, font will be, I'll just come up with something random, yellow. The background will be blue. The border style will be solid, so on and so forth, right? Just saying what it's going to be, what it will look like. All right. And then down here, step 3, find your images. Next, find all the images that you need and save them to your Chromebook with a unique name. You'll rename each image and write the file name here. Be sure to write down all the information about the image, such as the author, title, source, and license it's covered under. If you can't figure out what the Creative Commons license is, then you can use the generic CC BY and CND, which covers all bases. The file name, right? So let me just find a random picture. Let's see here. I'm going to go to Wikimedia Commons because they're really good about giving attribution and making sure that everybody understands the Creative Commons licensing agreement for every picture that they put on this website. So if I look up puppy, and let's see, I like this puppy. He looks like a friendly dude. So if I right click on this, save image as, go to my pictures, and I'm on a PC, I'm just going to say Beagle Pup for my file name, save it. And then when I go over to this page, I know the name of my file because I just named it. Let me pull up my files and go into my pictures, beaglepup.jpg, just to make sure I've got that file name correct. And then my image information can all be found on Wikimedia Commons. It's like I said, it's a really great website for finding, and it even tells you and reminds you, you need to attribute the author, man. Okay. So the person who took this picture wants credit, but they say share alike. So use that picture as you see fit. So there's the Creative Commons license. It's by Soccer SMP. So over here, we'll say the author is Soccer SMP. I guess that's their username. The title of the original picture is Beagle Puppy Cadet 2. The source is Wikimedia Commons. The license is this, CC BY-SA. Make sure all of that's capitalized with the dashes, and that's all you need for that. So every picture that you find and download, make sure you give me this information. If you can't find all that information, you can fall back on this Creative Commons licensing agreement. Okay, so now uploading. Step 4 is the final step. So once you have found all your images, and since you're going to have multiple web pages on your website, it's important to have pictures on each page. So make sure that you are adding lots of images here because pictures really jazz up your page and make them more interesting for your viewers and your users. So down here, step 4, upload your images on code.org. Next, upload all the images that you downloaded and list them in the table above. Next, upload all the images that you downloaded and listed in the table above on Bubble 2 of Lesson 18 on code.org. Click this link to navigate there quickly. So if we click here, it'll open up to Bubble 2. And all I'm asking you to do here is say add image, upload file. I'm going to go into my pictures. You would go into your downloads or wherever you might need to go. I'm going to open up that Beagle Pup picture. There it is. I can click this X and it shows up in my file space. There's my Beagle Pup. And that's all you need to do on this page. So once you have all of these images that you listed here in this table uploaded to your website here, you are finished. So make sure you've got each of these sections completed, your pictures uploaded onto Bubble 2 of Lesson 18. And then when you are finished doing that, click Finish here, so to make sure that it saves all of your content that you just added and you don't lose it later. You're good to go. And then make sure that you submit your finished project guide on the assignment page before you take off. So that's it. I hope you guys have a good time planning your websites. I'm sure you've got lots of great ideas, and I'm excited to see what your plans are.